So welcome back to another FIFA 19 career mode video. Today we have another episode of the Things We Hate series. This series aims to showcase the different opinions that the community has regarding career mode, and it offers suggestions and ways that EA can improve the game mode in the future. If you want to help me out, leave a thumbs up for me. Let's get to 700 likes. And if you're new around here and you want to see more of these episodes, then hit the subscribe button today and the notification bell and you won't miss any. So today's video has a mixture of bugs and glitches and some suggestions that you guys have DM'd me on Instagram. Now, there is a lot of YouTube comments that I have to get through still. If you have left a comment, I will get to it. We have a lot of episodes still to come, I think, because there's hundreds of different opinions and suggestions. And, you know, I have to do probably 10 or 12 each episode. So if you want to leave your opinions to get possibly featured in a future video, as long as no one else has said what you've already said, then leave a comment down below or you can DM me on Instagram. And if you don't have Instagram, you can also send me stuff on Twitter as well. I do check that regularly. So there's plenty of ways to get your opinions into this series. The first thing I want to show you today is a pretty big issue in career mode because it stops you from actually playing the game mode and there's nothing you can do about it. Jordan sent me this clip on Instagram and it shows him getting stuck on deadline day. There's 9 hours left. He presses the button and then it just stops after it. He can't go into anything besides the EA catalog by pressing the R button, and he has to close the application. He does all that stuff and then he reboots the game itself and he loads up his save. The problem is, once he reaches deadline day again, the first hour goes by and then it gets stuck on 9 hours again and there's nothing he can do. So the poor guy is just getting stuck on the same thing over and over, and unfortunately there's nothing you can really do about it. I think in FIFA 18 I had some of these issues as well where the game would freeze, but it was never permanent. I could just close the application and go back into it. But this one is pretty big because on deadline day it's not letting him do anything else besides load up the EA catalog. I'm not sure how you would fix this, but I guess the only way to is to start a new career mode, which is a big shame if you're already 2 or 3 seasons in. If you're experiencing this issue as well, make sure you let me know. So career mode this year has like news tiles for big matches, and this one was for the European Championships. It was Spain versus France, and unfortunately the issue here is that Isco and Mbappe should be wearing the international kits, but instead they're wearing their club kits. So Isco is in the Real Madrid kit and Mbappe is in his PSG kit. So that is a little bit of a bug. They should have the France and the Spain kits on. So currently in career mode we have the ability to add sell-on clauses in the transfer negotiations room. But once you've signed the player and he's in your squad, the game doesn't tell you how much his sell-on clause is, which could be useful information when you decide to sell the player in the future, and Vaughn would like to see that added. But on a little side note, do the sell-on clauses actually work in the game? Like, I know when you go to sell a player, you can add like a sell-on clause where you can get like 20% on any future sales of that player, but I've never actually received any money from a sell-on clause. I've never received an email telling me I've made money off it, so I'd like to know if you guys know anything. I think I'm going to research the web and see what people are saying about it. So after looking at some websites and forums, the majority of people say that it doesn't work, but there's probably a few that have done some extra in-depth analysis, and they reckon that the money goes to your club's value, not your transfer budget. And that's why the game doesn't let you know that you've made money off a sell-on clause. Apparently you still get your money because technically your transfer budget is determined by your club's value. So some say that it works, the majority say that it doesn't. I'm not 100% sure because there's no real evidence about it. So I think that this feature could be implemented a bit better than what it is already. And I think that the game should let us know when we make money from a sell-on clause. The next thing on the list is the fact that buying a player is still very easy as long as you have the money to pay for wages and the transfer. You can sign anyone for any team pretty much unless they've recently joined a club. So this is mostly true. I would have to agree with this. EA should copy PES where they have like a chances of signing bar, which means that even if you have the money for the release clause and you have the money to buy this guy, he still might not join your club because the chances of signing are low. And I've tried to sign Salah for Chelsea and I had the money for his release clause. I did that option, I paid for his release clause, and the game came back a few days later and told me that the transfer negotiations have broken down. So this is a cool feature because in FIFA career mode this would have went through and I would have had Salah in my team. So to make transfers more realistic and to make them a little bit harder, the game should implement a chances of signing feature, which is like 50% or 90% depending on the player and the past history, and I think this would make transfers pretty fun and more challenging. So the next suggestion comes from James, and he says that international management in career mode is bad. He goes on to say that FIFA 20 should add in the new UEFA League of Nations and get the UEFA Euro 2020 license as well. And we should also get more detailed stats in the squad submissions area where it can tell us how many matches a player has played and how many goals and assists and other information they have done with their club. So when you go to pick your squad in career mode, there's no information basically on the goals they've scored with their clubs or the assists and how they're going, their average form. And basically it just has their overall and their player stats, and you decide to pick them or not. So it's not very detailed at all. And I think next year there will be the League of Nations, because it is a UEFA tournament. It only got introduced this year, and EA pretty much focused on the club competitions this year. Hopefully they actually use their heads and consider the international side of things in career mode and add in the Euro 2020 license and also the League of Nations, because it's better than playing friendly matches at least. So this one is pretty specific, and it comes from David. He wants to see actual Premier League training shirts in the warm-up cutscenes and not just the bibs. So with the Premier League license, he wants EA to add in the training shirts for the teams when they're warming up in the cutscenes to make it look a little bit more realistic. And I wouldn't mind it, but it's not really something that bothers me, because it's only like a 5-second clip and then you just go into your match anyway. But I know there's a few of you guys that love that attention to detail, so for you guys, it would be a nice feature. So I'm surprised this isn't a feature already, but Jamie wants to see the Community Shield TV broadcast packages in career mode, and I want to see this as well because I love the TV overlays. It just makes everything more realistic, and hopefully they can do it in the future. Now, Philip told me that he hates the fact that youth players have the same EA generic boots, but the thing is you can actually change the boots for players in career mode. You have to purchase it via the EA Sports catalog, so it's about 1,500 coins. It's not proper money, it's just the money you accumulate by playing career mode, and it lets you change the appearance of your players in your squad. So you can change the boots on any kinds of players. I don't know if you guys knew this, so that's why I threw it in the video. There's also a few other things in the catalog that can help you with career mode. You can buy things like financial takeovers as well, which inject a lot of money into your club. So this next suggestion comes from JJ. He says when loaning a player to another club, you can't set an option to buy fee that the other club can pay after the loan ends to acquire that player on a full transfer. And this would be a nice feature, because all the time in the real world we see a lot of loans have this option to buy feature where the club likes the player and wants to keep him for a full transfer. And this game decided that it's not important. They haven't added it in, but it is something that is heavily requested on the community forums. So this next one comes from Benny. He says that it's still difficult to loan out players. He reckons that he has loaned out one player and had about 30 of them rejected. So for me personally, I haven't really had any issues with loaning out players, but I have heard people say that if a player has a higher wage, then it is harder to loan them out. So maybe he's experiencing that. Maybe you guys who are watching this can verify in the comments whether you're having issues with loaning out players as well. I think it's not that bad this year. I haven't really experienced anything that frustrates me, but maybe you guys have experienced something. So this year in FIFA 19, there's a new feature where some club teams in the Premier League have their European kit numbers added to the game, which means when they play outside of the Premier League, their kit numbers change to a European style. And you can see that when you play Champions League, Europa League games, and sometimes some cup games as well. But Billy doesn't like the fact that Liverpool and Arsenal do not have the European kit numbers when they play in the outside tournaments. And I have mentioned this before. I have said that there's a few teams that have it, like Man United and Chelsea, but there's a lot of teams that don't have this feature, which is a little bit of a shame because the more the better. But yeah, he doesn't like the fact that it's pretty limited at the moment. Billy also says that he wants to see national tournaments have their own interface in career mode. So you know how when you're playing a Champions League game, the whole user dashboard changes colors and it becomes Champions League branded. He wants to see a nicer looking World Cup interface and maybe some Euro interfaces as well. But we all know that the international side of career mode is pretty neglected. So I don't expect anything like that to happen anytime soon. So those were all the suggestions that made it in today's video. If you did leave a suggestion in the previous episode, or you DM me on Instagram with your list or some videos of glitches, do not worry, because I have put together a big list of all the different feedback that I have received for this series. So you're probably on the list somewhere. It's just a matter of time. I can only do a certain amount each episode. Otherwise it gets a little bit too long and boring for you guys. So do not worry. We have probably a lot of episodes to go still.